Hey guys, just wanted to give you a quick heads up regarding the creation of this video. I played through Warfighter in only about 3 days last weekend, but during the week I brilliantly decided to add a new CPU cooler to my setup, which of course went awry and I wound up busting my CPU socket. I'll go into detail in a later video. But just know that in this review most of the gameplay won't be mine since I can't replay the game to obtain new footage. Normally I just delay the video, but as you can probably tell by the title, this particular game just isn't worth the time. Plus, I had numerous issues trying to record the game as it was, which I'll get to in the review, and speaking of which, let's get into it. What's up guys, Shinmoki here, and I'm fucking sad. For some time now, I was under the impression that the sole reason the Medal of Honor series went under was because the 2 reboot entries were simply ignored by the public at large. But no. Instead, it's because Medal of Honor Warfighter is one of the worst AAA experiences I've ever had, with the rotten cherry on top of requiring the use of battle log for its multiplayer. Basically, if you don't know what battle log is, it's a very short-lived service by EA in which you do your server browsing and loadouts in your web browser and then launch a game from your browser. Not only was this extremely slow and inefficient, but it doesn't even work on modern web browsers. You have to go back to Internet Explorer to get it to work. Not that it matters since Warfighter's multiplayer didn't even come close to getting off the ground. But I get the distinct feeling that it and Battlefield 3 would have significantly longer lifespans if they just stuck to a conventional multiplayer suite. But Battlelog didn't ruin Battlefield 3, so what's wrong with Warfighter? Shit dude, I don't even know where to start with this mess. I suppose we can start by retreading ground in the Medal of Honor reboot. In my review of that title, I expressed my displeasure with the over-linearity of most missions, as well as far too many scripted events, as well as an overzealous pro-American approach to its sometimes fractured storytelling. In Warfighter, all these issues remain, only it's taken beyond the level of a minor annoyance. Let's begin with the linearity of the missions. Most Warfighter missions are exactly the same. Walk through a small corridor, go to an open area and eliminate all enemies, and then repeat. Over, and over, and over. It's absolutely atrocious, and I can't believe how many missions felt like they were simply on repeat. It's not even like there are cool action set pieces to restrain the monotony. All you get from mix-ups in the stated formula are 2 sniper sections and over 9 turret sections. The game is a fucking travesty of level design. How in God's name did Danger Close Games manage to go backwards here? And the AI is actually worse than Halo. No, not Halo 4, not Halo Reach, not Halo 3, not Halo 2, Halo Combat Evolved has better AI than this. Literally every single AI is scripted to run in the open area and into cover over and over and over again. But no, they don't stop when they see you or anything, God forbid it would make sense. The AI will literally walk straight past you while shooting in order to get to their scripted destination. This means that you can literally never push up on your own. All that will happen is the quote-unquote reinforcements will spawn in the next room, or sometimes pop out of the goddamn walls, run past you like a fucking idiot, and they all fire towards you in a harmony rarely seen in a goddamn orchestra. It happened quite literally every time I entered a new battle zone. You either sit in the far end of the room with your dogshit squad-mate AI, or push up and get flanked by enemies popping out of the goddamn walls. I get it. It's easy to overcome this by just playing the game like a fucking snooze fest, but I got so frustrated with the horrible storyline that I just wanted to push forward and get the game over with. Oh yeah, oh Jesus, the story. I can't with this. I'll try to explain as best I can. So basically Preacher from the last game is a deadbeat husband / dad because he make people go boom boom. His wife is all mad and stuff and his daughter thinks the world of him. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because this is as basic as it gets with this sort of plot in movies and video games alike, and it's genuinely terrible here. I get that it's a very real thing that happens with our armed forces, but honestly, it's a fictional story, so I don't mind calling it a shitty side plot. And what of the main plot? Well, I just finished the game, and I have to go to the Wikipedia article about it to get an understanding of what was actually going on in the story. That should tell you all you need to know, but I'll go a little bit deeper. It's a multi-character plot again, but here's for literally no reason. You take control of Preacher, the aforementioned deadbeat from most of the game, and then sometimes control a faceless character named Stump whenever the story decides, hey, let's have a scene where Preacher is at the home for some reason. The worst part about this is that Preacher is a silent protagonist when you play as him, despite the fact that most of the cinematics revolve around him when he, talks a shit ton. But I digress. So the story is basically, bad guy makes bombs, find bad guy. But then there's like some underlings and shit that are supposed to be intimidating too. Like, we don't even know what the main villain looks like until you get very close to the end of the game. And the rest of the Al-Qaeda baddies face even worse character development. As in, none at all. and are simply placed into the story when they need to pin an action on somebody. Just to give you an idea of how little development was put into these characters, who are, by the way, based on actual human beings, the second mission in the game is titled Through the Eyes of Evil. A bit on the nose again, but I digress. All that happens is that you go through a small training mode as an Al-Qaeda member, similar to the training section in the original Modern Warfare. And that's it. No meeting the main bad guys so you can understand their motives better, no explanation on the mindset of an Al-Qaeda foot soldier, nothing. And as expected, the soldier you control is never mentioned again. It's such a goddamn shame. I mean, they could have gone in a completely different and interesting direction with this. Give us a peek into their world, or at least as far as we can understand it, and give perspective on the war as a whole, rather than just giving the good old, these guys are so evil, wow, you should probably kill them, that so many quote-unquote patriotic pieces of media portray. Even more egregious, though, is the treatment of the Philippine army in this game. There's a squad of Philippine special forces at a few points in the game, and you want to hazard a guess what happens? Their fucking squad leader disobeys multiple orders from a general and takes orders from Mother instead, who sends them headfirst into an enemy stronghold, resulting in 3 casualties of the Philippine service members. Is this portrayed in a sensible way? Of course not. Despite the fact that Mother just got 3 men killed, they're not American, so fuck it. He made the right judgment call and he's praised by the Philippine army members and everything is all hunky-dory. It's fucking terrible and I hate everything about it. Oh, and we're just getting started on this shit Sunday, my friends. So all of a sudden, the game goes forwards in time, and then back, and then forwards, then back again, then forwards, and then back one more time. All is the story of how the evil dude who makes bombs makes said bombs. Till we're at the present time and find Preacher in the hospital. How did he get there? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. The game went back and forth so many times with so many incredibly stupid moments of something exploding and then cutting to black that I have no idea which explosion was the one that put him in the hospital. Then his wife comes in and is like, hey, don't go out there again, okay, thanks. Then Mother, which is your friend's call sign by the way, comes into the hospital and comes into the hospital and asks Preacher to come back on tour with him. It cuts to black. Then the film Captain Phillips starts playing. Wait. That's still the game, my bad. Yeah, it just randomly cuts to Stump being a sniper in the Maersk, Alabama hijacking. He then shoots a Somali pirate, and that's it. Scene over. And it was at that point I checked the fuck out of this shit. Let's just go over this real quick. They thought that cutting from a scene where a soldier is trying to convince another soldier to return to a tour of duty with no answer, to a scene of a well-known real-life incident in which a real-life hero is replaced by a silent, lifeless character, which doesn't even fit into the current story chronologically, was a good idea. I just have no words for this one. If I'd ever recommend this game to people, it's to experience how nonsensical, confusing, meaningless, foolish, and plain idiotic the moment in this game is. Was this backstory for Stump since this incident happened before the game takes place? If so, why not start the game with that, as stupid as it still would have been? The rest of the game fares no better, and in some places is even worse. At the very end of the game, you'll never guess what happens. The main bad guy straps on a suicide bomb vest, and instead of blowing up as soon as he sees you, the game goes slow motion as you take out your pistol and have approximately 2.2 billion years to pull the trigger before he detonates. And that just about sums up Warfighter. A slow motion action sequence of a Navy SEAL shooting a nameless and completely unexplored Al-Qaeda bad guy in the head before he detonates his suicide vest. I'm of course not trying to send an anti-American or anti-patriotic message with this video. I'm sending an anti-whoever the fuck wrote this script message, because as an American, it's fucking embarrassing. Almost as embarrassing as a truly ridiculous amount of bugs and glitches. I had game-breaking bugs on several occasions, and I had to revalidate my files on 4 separate occasions while plowing through this 9-hour campaign. At first, the game refused to open. I resorted to a crack which didn't fix it, revalidated my files. I then was unable to record the game without it beeping at me and crashing. Revalidated my files. I was then unable to get past a certain part in a mission without the game clipping me through the map. Revalidate files. And then, on Preacher's escape mission on the ship, which was definitely not ripped off from Modern Warfare by the way, enemies were shooting me from underground. Revalidated files. Even now, the game still crashes frequently, and it's almost impossible to get it recording for more than a few minutes at a time without it crashing. Oh, and a fun fact for my PC friends, there are 2 driving sections in this game, and the game literally closes and reopens itself when you enter these sections and resets all of your settings to default, and it often crashes between reopening itself. Awesome. I mean, at least the gunplay is solid, as well as the sound design. It's Frostbite 2.0 though, so it'd be hard to fuck that up. Regardless though, any decent gunplay is completely ruined by the issues with the enemy AI being beyond scripted as mentioned earlier. I mean, it's cool that there was an attempt to tell a story of a soldier who just always falls back in being in the line of duty, rather than being a good husband/father, as well as tell the tale of a big web of bad guys supplying powerful explosives to terrorist forces. But the execution is so thoughtless, messy, and underdeveloped that it not only falls flat on its face, it does a somersault right into the bargain bin at Walmart. After 2010's Medal of Honor, I had hoped that Warfighter would take the solid, albeit sometimes shaky base that Medal of Honor laid out, but instead it shook it down till there was only the bare bones of what could be considered a video game left. The game, even for being a 2012 release, is a complete embarrassment to all aspects of the video game medium. It somehow managed to function poorly on a fundamental level on one of the greatest game engines of all time. It managed to completely dismantle the idea of good storytelling, forgoed years of development into smart and calculating enemy AI for those rivaled by GoldenEye, and most egregiously, portrayed American service members as those who found value in life only in one another, and saw the enemy force as nothing more than targets to be eliminated, and not as human beings. I may be reaching a bit here because, as I've mentioned, the story's not that deep, but I simply got an aching feeling that the devs' constant cries for preserving the lives and stories of our service members was only skin deep, and my stock in them following 2010's Medal of Honor was wholly misplaced, and I'm not at all surprised that Medal of Honor has yet to be revived. I am horribly disappointed in EA and Danger Close for this game, and I only hope that the Medal of Honor series can be revived in more tentative hands. Thank you for watching.